And with me now for a reaction is Zainab Khan. She is an activist for the global women's rights movement and a women's delegate for the United Nations. Thanks so much for being here tonight.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you so much.
So you were recently in London. Tell us about your experience. Is Lord Malcolm Pearson correct in his assessment?
I absolutely agree with him. I think that he covers several key points, and one of them is being that there is a deep ostracization of reformist Muslims, progressive Muslims speaking out because there is a deep fear. There's a lot of backlash that's associated with it. The minute you tie the theological component to the radical ideologies that do exist there, you are immediately labeled as an Islamophobe. And this cuts the dialogue from any sort of progressive movement that can be done. And we've seen this happen even when we're seeing continuous human rights violations with women, girls, children, time and time again. And the term Islamophobia is always thrown the minute you begin to question, the minute you begin to ask why, what is the justification, and a lot of times the justification is theological, and it has been there. This isn't anything new. These laws have been codified for centuries.
Right.
And now ISIS is acting up on them, and we're reacting when really it's been there for quite a while.
And it's certainly made its way into the West. I was also in London recently, and just a couple of days before the Copenhagen shootings happened, I attended a anti-free speech Islamic protest in London, just outside of Parliament. I thought it was so interesting how they corralled off the women from the men at this protest, and they put the stage in the middle of the protest, and the all-male speakers turned their back to the women and only spoke to the men, which brings me to my next question for you. You have some interesting information on an ISIS manifesto for women and girls. What can you tell us about what their plans are for them?
Oh yeah, and this ISIS manifesto was actually written by their Al-Khansa brigade, which is all females, and they enforce these Sharia laws, but extreme versions of them where it justifies girls to be married at the age of 9. It gives an entire doctrine of what a woman's role is, how she can support ISIS and the jihad against any non-believers. And these are laws that are continuously imposed. And if you go against them, even to the point of your dress, how you can't leave the house without a male, companion, and yet at the same time, these are the same ideas and ideologies that are recruiting these women from the West to join ISIS as jihadist brides.
Right. Well, now you obviously have very strong connections to the UN. You have strong influence at the UN. What is the UN doing, not only to protect women and girls, but to stop the recruiting from ISIS that those women and girls can be protected from getting into a bad situation?
I think it's, unfortunately, a lot of times with the UN, there's continuous reports of human rights violations before some sort of action item is taken into place. And I've seen this quite a bit, and my hopes are that I'm able to have some sort of an influence in that we're able to act up upon the human rights violations that are continuously occurring, especially under the name of, religion or culture and what ISIS has been doing.
Absolutely, and I hope that we can move forward in the UN without being called Islamophobic for protecting the human rights of women and girls. Zainab Khan, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.